Imagine picking up a quarter from your pocket and realizing it's not just a piece of change, but a slice of American history. That's the story of the 1965 United States quarter dollar, a coin that marked the beginning of a brand new era in American coinage. While it looks simple, this coin represents one of the most important changes in the way U.S. coins were made, and collectors today still hunt for them for their story, their design, and sometimes even their surprising value. The obverse, or front, of the 1965 quarter features the familiar portrait of George Washington. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan in 1932, Washington faces left, with the word liberty above, the motto, "In God We Trust," to the left, and the date, 1965, at the bottom. This design was first introduced for the 200th anniversary of Washington's birth and became so iconic that it remained on quarters for decades, all the way until the state quarters program began in 1999. On the reverse, the coin shows a bold American bald eagle with wings spread wide, perched on a bundle of arrows, symbolizing strength and readiness to defend the nation. Beneath the eagle are olive branches, representing the hope for peace. The inscriptions United States of America and E Pluribus Unum are at the top, and the denomination quarter dollar runs across the bottom. It's a patriotic design, simple but strong, reflecting America's values in the mid-20th century. Now, what makes the 1965 quarter so important is its composition. Up until 1964, quarters were made of 90% silver and 10% copper. But by the mid-1960s, silver prices were climbing, and the cost of making coins was getting too high. People began hoarding silver coins, causing shortages. To solve this problem, the U.S. Mint made a major change. Starting in quarters were no longer struck in silver, but instead, in a clad composition, an outer layer of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a pure copper core. This gave the coin its distinctive look, with a copper-colored edge when viewed from the side. The 1965 quarter was the very first of these new clad quarters, making it a historic issue. In fact, the Mint struck over 1.8 billion of them, more than enough to fill the gap left by silver quarters disappearing from circulation. Unlike earlier quarters, the 1965 issue carries no mint mark, regardless of whether it was struck in Philadelphia, Denver, or San Francisco, because the Mint temporarily removed mint marks from coins between 1965 and 1967. This was done to discourage people from hoarding coins by mint mark and to encourage circulation during a time of shortage. So, what about value? Because so many were produced, most 1965 quarters are considered common. A circulated example is usually only worth face value at 25 cents, unless it has an error. But uncirculated or mint state examples can sell for a few dollars. And high-grade coins, certified MS65 or above, may fetch between $20 and $1.50. Exceptional gems with MS67 grades can sometimes reach into the hundreds. The real excitement for collectors lies in rare errors. One of the most famous is the 1965 silver quarter error. A small number of quarters dated 1965 were accidentally struck on leftover 90% silver planchets from 1964. These coins look almost identical to the clad quarters, but when weighed, they come in at 6.25 grams instead of 5.67 grams. If you ever find a 1965 quarter that feels heavy, don't spend it. It might be one of these rare silver transition errors, which can sell for thousands of dollars. Other errors from this year include off-center strikes, double dies, and coins with missing clad layers, all of which are worth premiums above regular examples. Historically, the 1965 quarter is tied to a fascinating time in America. Lyndon B. Johnson was president. The country was deeply involved in the space race, and the civil rights movement was reshaping society. In everyday life, a quarter could buy you a gallon of gas, a movie ticket, or a meal at a diner. For millions of Americans, the 1965 quarter was more than just money. It was part of the rhythm of daily life, marking a period of change both in the nation's economy and in its culture. Bar collectors, this coin is appealing because it represents a turning point. It's not rare, but it's significant. It was the first year the U.S. Mint moved away from silver coinage for the quarter, setting the stage for the modern coins we still use today. Owning one is like holding the moment when America shifted from silver to clad, a decision that shaped the nation's coinage for generations. So, what should you do if you have one? First, check the weight if you think it might be silver. A regular clad 1965 quarter weighs 5.67 grams, while a rare silver error weighs 6.25 grams. If you have a silver example, definitely have it authenticated by a grading service like PCGS or NGC, because these are highly collectible. For regular clad examples, condition is key. Coins with strong luster and nowhere are worth submitting if you think they could achieve a high mint state grade. Once graded, you can sell them through coin dealers, online auctions, or even specialized coin shows where collectors are eager to add error coins or high-grade clad examples to their sets. At the end of the day, the 1965 quarter might not make you rich if it's a common example, but it still carries huge historical importance. It represents change, adaptation, and resilience qualities that defined America in the 1960s. Whether you're just starting a coin collection or looking for those rare transition errors, the 1965 quarter is a coin worth keeping an eye out for. Every coin has a story, and this one tells the tale of silver disappearing from American change, of a mint adjusting to new realities, and of a country moving into a new chapter.